Welcome to Misericordiae Hospital, Nairobi CBD Medical Center.
Development House Medical Center was opened about slightly above 10 years ago, and since then we've been providing ambulatory care to clients who come to us. The clinic is located between Tom Mboya Street and Moi Avenue, right opposite the Pioneer Building.
We guarantee our patients quality standards and variety of medical services.
At Development House Town Clinic, we have the following services. We offer doctor's consultation. We also offer physician services on Mondays and Fridays, obstetric and gynecologist services on Wednesdays and Saturdays, nutritional services on Fridays. We also have a well-equipped pharmacy, a well-equipped laboratory. We have physiotherapists, and we also have just begun our wellness services as a way of encouraging preventive medicine.
We provide specialized services, that is gynecology and antenatal clinics. We provide services to the diabetics and the hypertensive patients. We give nursing services. We will do your dressing, we give you injections, we also provide some counseling services. We have specialized counselors that would give you natural family planning counseling and guidance, and you'd also get the general counseling. We also provide adult immunization, and basically for adults who want to travel, we are able to give you the vaccines that you need.
We uphold the dignity and privacy of our patients as we strive to meet your healthcare needs holistically and in a more compassionate way.
The service that you'd receive at our medical center is a value with a touch of Christ. We do not just want you to be taken care of physically, but you also think about your spiritual care and spiritual growth.
Visit us every Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and get value for your money.
We ensure that you're seen within the shortest time possible, however, providing quality care.
I welcome you all to Mater Hospital CBD. We assure you of timely, efficient, and satisfactory services.
A very warm good morning, dear viewer, and thank you very much for making time for this discourse. You are right on time for our Friday Health Discourse, today being the 10th day of June 2022. We are more than elated to discuss with you, to enlighten you more about health conditions. Now, the greatest asset a nation can ever have is a healthy citizenry, and it is in this regard that Capuchin TV has partnered with Mater Misericordiae Hospital to bring you weekly informative discussions on health. And today we are here to discuss arthritis. I know it is something that you've heard of. It's not a very strange or a new condition. So today we'd like to delve deeper into this. So let's get to understand the causes. First of all, what is arthritis? What scope or what does it mean? What is the concept of arthritis and symptoms, diagnosis, and the different treatment modalities available for this health condition? But as usual, I'm never alone in a studio. I've got a guest, and allow me to introduce him to you before we proceed. Dr. Ndirangu, we are happy to host you again on this show.
Happy to be here as always.
Yes.
Thank
you for creating time for this talk.
Karibu sana.
Could you please tell our viewer what you do at Mater Hospital?
So I'm a medical officer at the Mater Hospital based at at the Thika Road Mall in Kasarani. Yes.
Welcome. All right, and you can be part of this discussion as usual by dropping your comments, your questions, or contributions to our number 0717-424-866. We are also live on YouTube and Facebook, so do not hesitate to communicate to us. We will be sampling some of your feedback as and when time allows. My name is Sasha Elizabeth, and the hashtag to use is Friday Health Discourse, hashtag Capuchin TV, hashtag Matter Hospital. So welcome, and let's walk this talk. All right, so let's start by understanding, when we talk of arthritis, what do we refer to, Dr. Mugo?
So arthritis basically is a word that's derived from Latin. So it comes from two Latin words. So there's arthro, which means joint, and itis, which means inflammation. Inflammation is basically swelling. It usually tends to refer to swelling that is at the microscopic level, but as the disease process continues to advance, it may become an obvious swelling. So arthritis is basically joint inflammation, and that may have other symptoms which we are going to talk about. And it's good to mention that there are many different types of arthritis, about 100 types of arthritis. But the main ones that we probably will be discussing are osteoarthritis, which is the most common type of arthritis, and rheumatoid arthritis.
Those are the major ones, the most common ones.
Yes, that's
okay,
right.
the two. So how common is this disorder locally or globally?
Arthritis is quite common. There is a quote about when you age, that you have a lot of beauty in the inside, but not a lot of people can see it. People cannot see it because you have grown old. And arthritis tends to be a problem more for people who are aging, especially above the age of 50 years. It tends to affect women more than men. And there also tends to be a genetic aspect that's associated with it, which means if a member of your family, especially a close relative, maybe your parent or your sibling has arthritis, then you have a higher risk of developing arthritis. So globally, the prevalence, for example, of osteoarthritis is about 3%, which means that 3 in 100 people will have osteoarthritis. For rheumatoid arthritis, which is the second leading cause of arthritis, it would be about 0.25%, which is much less, which would be maybe 25 in 1,000 individuals. In our country here in Kenya, for example, for osteoarthritis, which tends to affect mainly the knees, the hips, or the hands, for example, like knee osteoarthritis, which if you go to the village and you talk to the old people, if they know that you're a doctor, they'll tell you magoti, mgongo. So for knee osteoarthritis, which is the most common, will be quite high in Kenya, about 15%, especially in the older individuals. Then for hip osteoarthritis would be about 3%, and for osteoarthritis in the hands, maybe around 5%. Then there's also another common type of arthritis that we call gouty arthritis, or in simple terms, gout, which may be as common as 1 in 100 individuals. So the other types of arthritis are probably less common, but they're also there in some measure in some populations.
Still on the prevalence rate,
Yes.
Are there some demographic or external factors that make some regions with a higher prevalence rate than others?
Unfortunately, like for our country, we don't have a lot of local data. However, there are regions where, because of issues like obesity and being overweight, the prevalence would be a bit more, especially in the West. And then in places where they tend to have less weight problems, especially in the East, the Asian countries, the prevalence of arthritis is seen to be a bit less. So that plays a big role. And also diet does play a big role. So in areas where there's a lot of consumption of especially meats and seafood, we tend to have a higher prevalence of especially the gouty arthritis. And areas where the type of diet tends to be more healthier, kind of a Mediterranean kind of diet, then the prevalence of gout would be seen to be a bit less.
All right, thank you. Now, for the sake of that person who might not understand the link between seafoods and gouty arthritis, could you please shed some more light on that?
So the link between seafood, so gout or gouty arthritis tends to be associated with a high intake, an accumulation of what we call uric acid. So uric acid is a chemical that's found from breakdown of certain foods, especially seafoods, red meats, and even alcohol. So when that is broken down in what we call in science purine metabolism, that enables uric acid to accumulate, and when it accumulates in the blood, it tends to be deposited in the joints. So when it's deposited in the joints, those crystals tend to cause joint damage, and that now causes gout. So there are individuals who they have gout because of high intake of such foods, and there are also individuals who have developed gout because of other problems. Maybe they cannot remove excess those products from their system. Maybe they have a kidney problem, and they end up accumulating the toxins that deposit in their joints and cause joint damage. So it's either or. It's either you're taking too much of these foods or you have another underlying problem.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mugo. Now, thank you for that clarification. So you mentioned that this condition is more common among the elderly.
Yes.
Have you recorded or have cases of arthritis among children been recorded before?
Yes, there are cases of arthritis in children. There is particularly what we call juvenile idiopathic arthritis. So juvenile means just children, then idiopathic means that the causes are not well understood. However, there is a genetic aspect to it, and these children tend to have a very strong family history. So when they inherit some of these genes from their parents, if both parents have a history of arthritis, then the tendency to develop arthritis is much greater. If one parent, then it is less. So these children can develop arthritis earlier in life, and they would have joint pains, and that can be managed because that can be managed appropriately once it's detected.
So how early can they develop this condition?
Usually even from as early as 4 or 5 years, they can start to develop joint pains, and such a child would be crying a lot. Sometimes if it starts to progress, then you may notice some joint swelling or difficulty moving a certain joint, stiffness and things like that. Yes.
Thank you. Now, these are the different variants that you've been mentioning of arthritis. Are the risk factors different in each of these variants, or it's just the same, the same causes?
Well, the risk factors, there are some that are common, there are some that are different. But especially, like for instance, in osteoarthritis, the main risk factors there tend to be being overweight or obesity, and of course increasing age also is a risk factor, because as you age, there are changes that begin to happen in the joints.
So these are general that cut across all types of arthritis?
Mostly for osteoarthritis. There are other different factors for the other types of arthritis. And then, for example, for rheumatoid arthritis, the main thing there is usually what we call a problem with the immune system or autoimmunity. So there are some cells around the joints that begin to fight against your own cells at the joint. So that starts the process of joint destruction. Then, if, for example, in gout, we've mentioned that there's diet and alcohol are strong risk factors there. And then the other types of arthritis, such as septic arthritis, which is caused basically by infection. An infection from maybe the bloodstream can spread into a joint and cause arthritis. And then there's also another type of arthritis, for example, called psoriatic arthritis, whereby you have some skin condition, whereby there's some whitish, scaly patches, maybe around the elbows, and that can cause also some arthritis. So arthritis is... there are also other types of arthritis that are associated with some other infections, like HIV and even infections such as gonorrhea that can spread into the joints and cause inflammation of the joints. That's arthritis. So depending on which particular type of arthritis we are talking about, then the risk factors will
they vary. Okay, yes. Thank you very much for that clarification. What are some of these, most of the health conditions present in a specific way.
Yes.
So what are some of the early signs or symptoms of arthritis?
So some of the common early signs and symptoms of arthritis. So the individual may notice some pain in their joints, and usually, of course, the joint is where the bones meet. It's good to just mention that. So there oftentimes would be some swelling, joint stiffness, especially early morning stiffness. So they may find that they have challenges moving their joint maybe for a couple of minutes, even up to 30 minutes in the morning. And for example, for osteoarthritis, the joint pain may worsen with activity, and once they're resting, the joint pain may reduce. But in maybe rheumatoid arthritis, on the contrary, you may have the opposite, where the joint pain tends to become better once they start moving about. And the other thing that they may have, sometimes they may have a joint deformity. So you may notice some of their joints don't look like they're straight, and you may notice some swellings around especially on the hands.
The fingers.
Yes, on the fingers. And even sometimes on the knee, you may notice the knee is curved inwards or curved outwards, because of as that wearing out process at the joint is going on, it may lead to a change in the normal shape of the joint. So those tend to be... There are some types of arthritis that may have other symptoms in other parts of the body. Some that can cause even redness of the eyes or some chest pain. But that would now vary on the different types of arthritis that you probably would be thinking about.
And are there any other medical conditions that could mimic these signs and symptoms?
Yes, there are other conditions that could look similar to arthritis, and one of them could be what we call tendinitis, which could be inflammation of the tendons. The other thing could be some types of cancer, because they can cause swelling around the joints, and that would need to do further workup to be able to establish the differences. And the other conditions, even a thyroid problem that can cause some joint abnormalities, that maybe if we check the thyroid function and see that it is abnormal, we may be able to diagnose that. Yes.
How is it diagnosed when a patient comes and they have some of these signs that are indicative of arthritis?
A diagnosis is usually is not a very straightforward process, because we first have to take a good clinical history. We have to find out from the patient how did it start, how did he how has it developed? Is there a family history? Then after we have also got a good history, we need to examine the patient to see if there are any abnormalities in the physical examination. Then after that, we may proceed to do some blood tests. There are some blood tests we call inflammatory markers, which basically help us to know that there is an inflammatory process going on, maybe likely in the joint. So this include what we call CRP or ESR, and there are also other blood tests like uric acid, which we may need to do to that is associated with gout. There's also some other blood tests like the rheumatoid arthritis factor, which may help us to diagnose rheumatoid arthritis, and another one that is called anti-citrulinated protein that also is for diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis. And then we may also go a step further to do some x-rays to just check if there's any joint destruction, if there are any abnormal bony growths that may be in keeping with osteoarthritis or any other abnormal changes. Then we may even decide to go further and do more advanced scans like CT scans or MRIs, just to be able to get a clearer picture of what is happening at the joint. And then after that, we can be able to consult with the right specialist to be able to give the right treatment. Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mugo. Now it is time to take a breath, dear viewer. When we come back, we will be discussing more on, we'll get to know about the preventive measures and of course the treatment modalities available for this medical condition, and also get to sample some of your questions, so keep them coming, and we'll make sure that Dr. Mugo responds to them as soon as possible. So stay tuned. We take a short break. We'll be right back with more.
Capuchin TV, your Catholic broadcasting ministry. Catherine Macaulay Nursing School is a leading institution in Kenya offering competitive training in nursing education, innovation, research and professionalism.
We are a nursing school that was started way back in 1972, chartered as a midwifery school. The school is run by a highly qualified faculty. All the departments, for example, you look at midwifery, it's headed by someone with a PhD in midwifery. Critical care is headed by a highly specialized person with a master's in critical care. Nephrology, the same. Our clinical instructors for these programs are also specialized in their various fields.
The school is licensed and accredited by the Nursing Council of Kenya to offer holistic training in various nursing programs.
We have general nursing, that is the Kenya registered nurse. We have higher diplomas in Kenya registered midwifery, Kenya registered critical care nurses, Kenya registered nephrology nurse, and also we have theatre nursing, which is called Kenya registered perioperative nursing. We do admit our students from all over the country, especially for the basic diploma, that is the Kenya registered nurse program. And for higher diplomas, we admit, again, we have a Pan-African presence. We have students from Congo, from Rwanda, from Uganda, and from other countries. But basically, most of our students are Kenyan, those ones who have graduated from our Kenyan institutions.
Enjoy your learning in a friendly environment with adequate training facilities, including a fully fledged skills laboratory, library, lecture halls, and accommodation amenities.
We have good facilities for our training. We have a very well equipped skills laboratory. This is for all the programs, both the basic diploma, the Kenya registered nursing, the midwifery, the critical care.
Nursing is a noble profession because we work with our clients at different stages of their lives, right from birth up to end of life. When a baby is born, a nurse is present. When a baby is brought to receive vaccines, a nurse is present. When you fall ill, the nurse is by your side. And even at the end of life, a nurse is present. So we are there to give our services throughout each stages of human life.
For more information, call us on 0732 163 164 or 0719 073 164 or visit our website at www.matakenya.com.
Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.
Welcome to Misericordiae Hospital, Buruburu Clinic for holistic medical services.
This is Buruburu Medical Center, which is part of Mata Hospital. And at Buruburu, we essentially offer services offered in Mata Hospital.
We are located in the first floor failing building above Quickmart. In Buruburu, we have general consultation Monday to Friday. Saturday and Sunday, they are still available. We still have specialists. On Tuesday and Thursday, we have gynecology clinics running from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have a pediatrician clinic running on Wednesday at 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We normally have a wellness, which we normally do from Monday to Sunday. Every day, feel welcome, you can come.
Experience the difference in our wide range of quality, responsive and compassionate healthcare services.
We have very highly skilled and qualified staff running the units. We offer services including doctor's consultation services, which is a general doctor in the outpatient unit. We also have laboratory services and pharmacy services. On particular days of the week, we have specialized clinics, which include the physician clinic, where we have our hypertension and diabetes patients followed up. And then we also have the obstetric gynecology clinic, which is run on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. We have the pediatric clinic, which is run on Wednesdays. And then we also have the ENT clinic, where we have the ENT doctor coming in, and that is run on Fridays in the morning. There is also a pediatric surgery clinic, which is also on Fridays.
Our child welfare, we normally do them on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have our ENT clinic Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. We normally have nutrition services on Tuesday to Thursday, and we have extended our radiology services from Monday to Friday to Saturday nowadays. Initially, we were running up to Friday, but currently going up to Saturday.
We deliver all our services with utmost diligence, integrity, and equality.
We see everyone at the Buruburu branch. We do not discriminate against anyone, either on race, on religious grounds, or disabled people. You are all welcome to receive services at our branch.
Be assured of privacy. We normally keep to our ethics. We are so compassionate to our clients. Integrity is all over. So when you come, we feel you, and that is why you can see nowadays we are running, like every Friday we are having a special clinic. Currently we are running the breast clinic. Next month we are coming up with clear colon screening. So don't forget we are Christ-centered. When you come, and we don't segregate because you are a Christian or a Muslim or Hindu. We treat every client as equal as any other.
Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.
Welcome back, dear viewer, and we apologize for technical hitches. This is our second session of our discussion today, Friday Health Discourse, that is arthritis. We are glad that you're keeping us company, and we believe that you are gleaning something from this discussion, because that is the core essence of us holding this health discussion. So it means studio, just to remind you, is Dr. Mugo Ndirangu from Mater Misericordiae Hospital. He is taking us through this condition, this medical condition that is common among the elderly populations. So allow me just to go through. Imoet had mentioned that he is watching. Then we had Bernard Kalasia, who is watching also from the eastern region. And then we had Nganga Mumbe, who had asked, how do we prevent arthritis? This is what we are going to next after trying to understand, after understanding the treatment modalities or options available for arthritis. So welcome, and let us continue this discussion. Welcome back to the second session, Dr. Mugo.
Thank you.
Okay, so could you please take us through the treatment options available for arthritis?
So the treatment options tend to be either we use medicine, which is a pharmacological approaches, or we use other non-pharmacological approaches. So when we are not using medicine, physiotherapy tends to be an important aspect of the treatment. So we may need to refer the patient to the physiotherapy unit, whereby they will initiate exercises to try and improve mobility at the joint, that exercises that also help to reduce the swelling, that help the patient also to become more mobile on their own, and also to enhance proper posture. So they may also use other modalities like heat, and there are machines that they may also use to be able to assist patients in that regard. Then there are other equipments that we may also need to use or to give the patient, such as some walking aids. Sometimes one may need to use a crutch or a walker, especially for the aged, and some maybe who have maybe a knee or an ankle arthritis, and depending on the extent of the illness, may require to use maybe some knee support or an ankle support. That tends to also help reduce the pain, or even a knee brace. There are some even that are a bit more advanced, that like the hinged knee brace, that may help maybe a bit better in terms of facilitating their movement. We also advise patients to rest adequately to reduce strain or stress on the joint, and there are other things like ice that may help to provide that soothing effect around the joint. If there's swelling maybe of the leg, we may require them to maybe put a pillow or two, or put their leg on a higher surface to help reduce the swelling. And
are these the ones you categorize under non-pharmacological?
Yes, that's right. And then when now we move to the medications, the most common type of medications that we use, we call them NSAIDs, which in full is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So the most common ones that you probably find over the counter, like ibuprofen and diclofenac. So what they do, these drugs, they help to reduce the inflammation at the joint, and in effect that will also help to reduce pain. Of course, they have other uses in other illnesses like reducing fever, but in arthritis we mainly use them to reduce pain and swelling, and they tend to be quite effective. However, the challenge with them sometimes is they can cause a bit of gastric irritation, or what people call hyperacidity, and which in older people is quite a common issue. So sometimes you may need to co-prescribe them with some medicine that would tend to counter that effect and make it more tolerable for the patient. In addition to that, there are in the same group, there are some other NSAIDs that tend not to cause the acidity, such as celecoxib, etoricoxib. They are more selective, so they tend to be better tolerated, and they also tend to be quite effective. When we look at, for example, rheumatoid arthritis, we may have because we mentioned that immunity being fighting against, you're fighting against your own immunity.
Your own immunity.
Yes, yes. We may need some drugs which are called immunosuppressants to suppress that effect and to enable one to begin to make recovery. So we may need to combine this, of course, with the NSAIDs. And these drugs, they tend to be used by the specialist, who are called the rheumatologist, and the monitoring tends to be a bit more aggressive, so you may need to maybe check their kidney and liver functions to see how things are, but they tend to be quite effective in reducing symptoms in such patients. When you look at, for example, uric gout, where uric acid is a problem, sometimes these patients may come with what we call flares, where somebody has very severe pain in maybe their toe or their hands, and they come to the hospital. And during these flares, there are some medications that may be used, like allopurinol and colchicine. So these drugs help to deal with the attack, and they help to lower the uric acid as well as manage the symptoms. Then after that, they can still continue on the NSAIDs. Then maybe another good mention would be the drugs we call steroids. You've probably heard about them in maybe people who do weightlifting. But steroids are also good in reducing inflammation.
Okay.
But we need to be careful with them and not give them for too long, because their side effect profile, they can cause weight gain, they can cause problems like osteoporosis, so we need to be very careful with them, but they tend to be very effective in patients with arthritis as we monitor them to make sure that they don't have any of those possible side effects. Yeah, so maybe the other thing that is important to mention, maybe for septic arthritis, whereby which tends to be common in children, so you may need antibiotics intravenously. So these patients may need to be admitted and given antibiotics aggressively, antibiotics like ceftriaxone, like the penicillins, and this would, later on, they can be changed to oral antibiotics as they go home. Of course, you also need to combine that with painkillers. So there's a whole range of, can call it a buffet of options.
There's a buffet of options.
Yes.
Thank you. No, so it's upon the medical experts to choose or to gauge which one is best, depending on the type of arthritis that you have and the symptoms that you present as a patient.
Yes.
Now, with advancement in technology, we have been witnessing an increase in self-diagnosis and consumption of OTCs, the over-the-counter prescriptions.
Yes.
What is your take about that? People just Google, they Google the symptoms, and then you're off to the chemist or pharmacy and you get the drugs. What's your advice, or what's your take about that?
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword, because there is a place for it, and but there are also limits. So we need to be careful. Of course, if your pain is mild to moderate, and including myself, you can take a painkiller or two. However, even home remedies sometimes do work. For example, if you're having a flu, you can make a home remedy.
Concussion.
You can do your dawa. However, if whatever you're taking is not settling your symptoms, then you need to be realistic and say, maybe I need to have this looked at. So we need also to be level-headed, to know that when what you're doing is not working, even your car, if something is making noise and you can try and fix it to get to where you're going, you'll try. But if the noise persists, then you need to call your mechanic. Yes, yes. So we need to be careful about Dr. Google, and remember that Dr. Google never went to medical school. Yes.
That's the information. Sometimes there is a pun or a meme, a meme that has been doing rounds that after Googling, there's a goat that's making a very strange sound. So like after Googling your symptoms, this is how you behave. You could find something that is really shocking and you get worried for no reason. So it's always good to rule it out by getting diagnosed and seeking to have the tests conducted to rule out any other cause or a precursor of your symptoms and signs. So now to these questions, the preventive measures. What preventive measures would you recommend to help keep the disease at bay?
Yes, definitely the old good adage that prevention is better than cure still holds true. And there are a couple of things that we would need to consider. For example, for osteoarthritis, a huge risk factor, very significant, is being overweight or being obese. So you probably need to know your BMI, the normal, which is the height to weight ratio, should be between 18.5 and 25, which anything in between there is fine. If you're less than 18.5, then you're underweight. If you're more than 25, you're overweight. If you're above 30, then you're obese. And I think if you're above 35, you should be morbidly obese, or should be danger zone. Yes. So managing one's weight is basically simply a factor of two things. So how much you're taking in, and how much you're spending in terms of your calories. There's also a genetic link. But the majority tend to be because of the fact that we are consuming more than we are using energy. So a consistent exercise regime is quite recommended, which would be, if you're doing some moderate exercise, maybe some jogging, would be at least 150 minutes per week. So if you're doing 3 times, that's 50 times 3. If you're doing 5 times, that's maybe 30 minutes 5 times a week. Then if you're doing more intense exercise like weightlifting, the time requirement is less, about 75 minutes per week, which you can break down to 25 by 3 or even 15 by 5. And any mix in between is okay. And then in terms of your diet, there are so many fad diets out there, but I think the best diet advice is don't make any changes to your diet that you're not hoping to sustain for the rest of your life. So if you're making, just have a normal balanced diet, then reduce your portions. Half of your plate should be fruits and veggies, which is very challenging. Even in the hoteli, mama kwa kibanda,
Mama ntili.
Kwa kamboga is kadogo, and then ugali is the size of Mount Longonot.
I think that's for Mama Mboga, but I know in some of the joints that is you just get to, especially the high-end joints. They try to give you to balance the fruits and veggies with the right proportions. All right. Now, Arina Haemba asked that can COVID cause arthritis? Now, this reminded me of the sporadic reports suggesting that some people, COVID-19 patients, developed inflammatory arthritis as a complication of the infection. Do you think there is a link between the two? Can COVID actually cause arthritis flare-up?
I think it could, because COVID in itself caused a lot of... there was a chemical process where there's a lot of inflammation in the body, and that could be, as a result, down the line, one could be able to develop arthritis. However, in the immediate setting, when one develops COVID, because COVID is being a virus, a respiratory virus, just like the other respiratory viruses like influenza and rhinovirus, adenovirus, one can have joint pains, or what we call arthralgias, as part of the package of the disease process. So just the way you'll have a headache, you'll have a running nose. So people can also have joint pains as the disease process is developing, which is not to mean that they have arthritis. So arthritis tends to be a more over a longer period of time, and tends to be a bit more severe and maybe disrupting one's quality of life than just the once-off joint pain. Yes.
Thank you very much for that information, Dr. Mugo. Now, Elizabeth Meyer asked, can I exercise after developing arthritis?
Yes, you can. However, you need to maybe consult with your doctor, because arthritis brings on some challenges in terms of course, even for the older people, if you'd ask, because most of them have osteoarthritis, so asking them to exercise would be an uphill task for many, and may even seem unrealistic, because they can barely move for some of them. So first we would need to manage your arthritis, and then it could start off with light exercise, some stretching movements, and maybe a bit of walking, and then as the symptoms get better, then you could take up more intense or more or other forms of exercise that require more movement, or more speed, more agility. Yeah, so it depends on at what level of the disease process you are, and how that is being managed.
And what about the age? Do you have specific exercises in the physiotherapy unit for the young people and the elderly? Because as you mentioned, the elderly might be fragile and weak to sustain strenuous exercises.
Yes, so for the... I'm not an expert in the area, but they usually give exercise recommendations for young people. Basically, we are for young people who are healthy. There's a whole buffet of options for the young people. But for the older people, just as I mentioned, the stretching exercises, just some simple movements, maybe sitting down and standing up, and certain moving your joints in certain directions, and doing those for several repetitions, several times a day. And even just, it doesn't have to be planned exercise. It could just be activity, like doing some gardening, doing some house chores, just being active, because that also tends to have benefit in terms of their health. And even just taking some simple walks, even just around the house or around the estate, those do also go a long way for the elderly patients. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I don't know, there is a sign of a very a lot of inflammation, maybe around the feet.
Yes.
Can it be somehow associated with arthritis?
Swelling of the feet sometimes may be arthritis, but sometimes, commonly people get swelling of the feet, what we call edema, or the common type is called dependent edema, especially maybe when you've sat down for long, or you've traveled, you can get swelling of the feet, but that's not necessarily, it's not really arthritis, it's just fluid shifting to the tissues, because the blood circulation is not as it should be. And sometimes the feet can swell because of other heart or kidney or liver problems. or sometimes a blood clot or an infection. So we would need probably to do some tests, maybe some x-rays and some blood tests to be able to differentiate. Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mugonderango. I'm told our time is up, but when we've been mentioning about a buffet of options. We do not refer to food for the Food Delicious team. So remember that the food you eat can either be the safest form or the safest and most powerful form of medicine, or it can be the slowest poison you have ever had. So at this point, I'd like to remind you about the Matter Heart Run. It is a campaign that has been ongoing, that was launched in May, and tomorrow, Saturday, the 11th of June, that is when the actual run will take place. So I'll allow Dr. Mugo to brief us a little bit about what will be happening and what time the run will commence before we close this discussion. Dr. Mugo.
Thank you. So we'd like to welcome all of us for the Matter Heart Run. We'd like to thank those who've supported, and the details are more on our website. If you still want to buy a t-shirt or buy a cup or just get any merchandise for you, your family, your loved ones, you can be able to get the details there, and the payment details and the locations. And then tomorrow we meet at the KICC at 7 a.m. Come dressed in your green t-shirt. Let's paint the county green for the sake of these children to get surgery, heart surgery, and to have better quality of life. And just let's be a blessing to the community, and let's touch a child's heart. So karibuni sana. See you guys tomorrow. Be sporty. Come, let's run together. For those who are not able to run, let's walk together and let's have a jolly good time.
Okay.
Asanteni.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mugonderango, for your time and for that important information on the Matter Heart Run. Remember, due to the expensive consumables that are used, specialized doctors, and sometimes the time and everything that is needed to nurse these patients, these children in the ICU. This is quite a costly procedure, especially for children from economically disadvantaged families. So they are unable to raise or pay for this cost. So let us join hands, dear viewer, and support or help touch a child's heart in a special way. Let us give them another lease of life. And they say that the greatest support or help you can give to someone is that which you give to the person who can otherwise be unable to repay you. So tomorrow is the opportunity. I will be there, I will run, I will touch a child's heart. What about you? Will you touch a child's heart? So let's meet there at the KICC at 7 a.m. My name is Sasha Elizabeth. I have been your host, and I'd like to commend the effort of my team behind the scenes, starting with my camera operator, Alan Nandiva. Thank you very much. Our sound operator has been Frederick Ochieng. So long, DJ Fredox. You have been on the run up and down. So thank you for the effort. And also I'd like to thank Michael Ndegwa. He is very agile and ardent at visual mixing. Thank you very much, Kibandi Michael, for the efforts that you've affixed in the transmission. So I'd like to thank you, dear viewer. There is Boland Basiba, who has been helping them in the gallery. So see you next time. Have a great weekend, and don't forget to come for the Matter Heart Run 2022 at the KICC 7 a.m. See you then. Goodbye.
Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.
It is a special event that brought together Mater Hospital Cardiac Program trustees, stakeholders, benefactors and beneficiaries to officially flag off the Mater Heart Run campaign 2022.
The Mater Heart Run 2022 has been officially launched.
Today I'm excited because we have launched the Mater Heart Run 2022. And for us, this is a great win because in the 2020 and 2021, we did not have the Mater Heart Run. And what it means is that if we don't have the Mater Heart Run, we do not have a platform where we invite well-wishers, our partners and our supporters to come together to raise funds, which is put into the Mater Heart Fund.
We are grateful for the continued partnership and support that you have accorded us and ensuring that the needy children with cardiac diseases get new lease of life.
The Heart Run, a Mater Hospital trademark that has been running for the past 25 years, is an annual campaign that raises funds to support needy children with cardiac defects and are otherwise unable to fund the costly medical procedures.
That is what Mater Heart Run is about. It's about touching the lives of children who have no way of ever coming back and saying thank you to us because of what we have done. But for us who have the ability to touch their lives, it gives us that one chance to do that.
Remember, cardiac surgery is very expensive because of the expensive consumables that are used, the specialized doctors that need to take care of the patients and even perform the procedures, even taking care of them in ICU.
Program trustees took the opportunity to outline this year's target and budgets ahead of the actual campaign in June 2022 as they called for support from people of goodwill.
This year, our target is 200 children from both open heart surgery and cardiac catheterization. These procedures will be achieved through your generous support. Already we have about 250 children on the waiting list, and this list continues to grow every day.
We can give our children a new lease of life by repairing the broken hearts. Broken in as those that have holes in their hearts, those that have valves that are damaged and need replacement, those that have vessels that are constricted and they are not taking blood where it's supposed to be taken.
The cardiac program targets children from economically disadvantaged families in line with the values of Sisters of Mercy, which seek to uplift the dignity of the underprivileged in society in the most compassionate way.
The interventions are focused on those who are not able to have financial capacity to deal with their ailments, and that cause of the charism of the Sisters of Mercy. That's a focus.
The campaign has so far benefited over 4,000 cardiac surgery and catheterization beneficiaries through generous donations from local and international donors, coupled with a team of dedicated medical specialists.
A time came when all our resources were depleted, yet we still had a number of cases. It is a leadership that believed that there will be a better tomorrow, and we have not turned a single critical case back.
Andres alikuwa ameturn, the tongue ilikuwa imeturn into purple, makucha zina grow zikiingia ndani. He was pale, angetembea from here to there, ana squat, anainama hawezi fanya anything. He started fainting. Andres alikuwa anaweza akalikuwa now the next hour amefaint. Tulianza kutembea na oxygen, but venye tulifika Mater, for real tulikuwa tume lose hope. Friends walituacha, but Mater ilitupokea, ikatukumbatia, wakatusaidia na surgery. Sahi Andres anaendelea vizuri.
My name is Andres Matano. I am 7 years old. Once I had a heart surgery and I had a problem. And my parents took me to Mata Hospital. They treated me well and I'm doing well. Thank you.
22-year-old Milka Atieno, one of the Mata Heart Run beneficiaries, had been on and off hospital, grappling with incessant health symptoms. Little did she know that she had multiple cardiac perforations.
I had several holes. Wakaniambia nitahave kwanza clinic. Ile ilifika 2019 March, nika lose hope. Nikasema no clinics anymore. So vile nili lose hope, kapata Mata wakanishikilia. Relatives walienda silent. My mom na my dad, my siblings ndio walini support.
Many other children who had lost hope of living due to heart diseases have found recourse in the Mata Heart Run program.
My name is Misericordiae and I'm 11 years old. I'm going grade 6 and I thank Mata Hospital for making me feel better. And now I am a grown girl and I thank Mata Hospital so much. I thank you to Mata Hospital. I'm graded for 2 and I thank God for everything.
Hii foundation yao imetuhelp sana. Back then sikuwa najua kuna kwanga na foundation kama hii inaweza saidia weak heart, hopeless heart. Ningependa kufanya what my friends were doing, what my classmates were doing, but ilikuwanga challenging. Ilini affect sana kwa sababu when people are moving to another class, me I'm still in the hospital. Most of the times nilikuwa na pass out, more faints, more weakness. But vile nilikuwa treated, nikahave kuendelea na studies zangu.
These are beneficiaries as way back as 2018, 2019 and 2021. These are children who were not able to go to school regularly. They were not able to play with their colleagues, but because of the program, now some of them have gone back to school and they are able to relate well.
Kurudisha shukrani kwa vile Mata walisimama na sisi wakati tulikuwa tumekosa njia kabisa, na wakati tulienda walitusaidia kabisa. Mungu awabariki sana.
The Mata Heart Run campaign is on in full swing, and what stands out the most is the need to improve cardiac disease treatment and management, not just in children but also in adults.
We still hope that we should be able with time and with continuous practice, and we'll be doing most of the cases, that we will be able to come down and do most of the cases. And I'm trusting that cardiac center, Mata, will be the first one to get it, to prop it.
Over the years, the program has opened its doors to other clients through self-sponsorship and insurance covers, and among these, the NHIF, which have played a very key role.
The day will also be marked in 11 different counties across the country.
If you're in Nairobi, the run will be Nairobi. If you're in Nyeri, there will be a run. If you're in Nakuru, there will be a run. If you're in Mombasa, there will be a run. If you're in Kericho, there will be a run. If you're in Bomet, there will be a run. If you're in Kisumu, there will be a run, and there will be a run in Kakamega and Eldoret. Kindly come and let us all support these children.
I'm aware of the post-COVID-19 economic challenges, but I hope your big hearts will go beyond these challenges to touch the little hearts of our children, who are going to be our future leaders.
For individuals, you get onto the Mata website. We have the Mata Heart Run paybill number, it's there. As a corporate, you can also talk to us. And when the t-shirts come out, buy t-shirts. Even if you're not able to give money, you can buy t-shirts for your groups, at your place of work, do it as a CSR, and join us for the run.
When you touch a child's heart, you touch the society. That's the core. That's where we began.
Touch a child's heart.
It is an annual iconic cardiac program popularly known as the Matter Heart Run, which had stalled for the past 2 years owing to the adverse effects posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. And as all well-wishers, stakeholders and sponsors gather here today to launch this program, the Matter Heart Run 2022, there is a call to every person who is able to step up and touch a child's heart in a special way as we await for the actual Matter Heart Run on the 11th of June. Asasha Elizabeth, Capuchin TV at the KICC, Nairobi.